Okay. All right, pop up there.
Oh my god, it's so loud.
All right, and we're go. There we go. Oh, there's a lot of people here already. Hello, guys.
Hola!
Got
We're
to take
live.
I guess. Ah, there we go. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming by. The review for what episode is it? Episode 5, 6? I can't
Episode
remember.
6.
6. I have 5, but I meant to hit 6. So disregard that part. I'll fix it later. All right, Steve's in the chat. We got Barbarian Kung Fu. Thank you, sir. John's Comics with Kids. I don't know if you guys saw the. I sent him a message today, but I don't know if you guys saw Big Will's auction, but John held it down, man. Good job with that, John. Perry's
Okay.
Comics. Thanks for coming by. Why is it blocking everything? I'm just gonna say show to everything. Caleb, hey Caleb, thanks for coming by. DK Comics Cosplay. Hello, Kachung. I'm gonna keep saying Kachung. And oh, Oblivion Bar here. I heard that guy's super cool.
Dude, I hear he
Right.
sucks.
So we're here, Swamp Thing review show.
We are here. What's up, people? What's happening?
Yeah.
All right. So we had episode 6 this week. What'd you guys think?
I think it was a breather from last week's Fright Show. Definitely. But I really like this episode because we got more of the story. I feel like it continued the story in a healthy way. And even though there were several different things going on, you definitely I still felt like it was linear enough to where you couldn't be confused. So I enjoyed it. It was a good episode for me.
Mr. G?
Yeah, I mean, it was clearly an episode. Hey, Old Wolf, by the way. It was clearly an episode that was trying to let's take it down one notch. Let's do some character building. Let's do some storytelling. I thought it was really good. I mean, we'll go into it more depth, but I thought a lot of the characters got, they showed a little bit of, a little bit of character from another way, like the dad, the son and mom, the police officer. That was a little dynamic there. And then, of course, anytime we get my 90210 guy a little bit more, getting his story going, that's pretty awesome. I mean, yeah, I watched the first time, and I remember I watched it at work, so it was kind of like, and the phone rings like every 2 seconds. So I remember thinking, it's kind of forgettable. But then when I got home, I watched it again. I was, oh no, you know what? I really liked that. It did a good job, kind of, helping the story along a little bit.
Yeah, you guys took the words right out of my mouth. I felt like last week it was such a big episode. They gave everybody what they were hoping to get out of this show all in one episode last week. They've been giving us little hints and little tastes, but last week was a completely different story. They blew it out of the park last week, and I feel like this week they were like, okay, so we gave them what they needed halfway through, and then now let's tone it down a little bit. Let's bring in some more depth. Let's layer these things one by one, and then we'll take it from here for the home stretch. You know what I mean? I didn't enjoy it as much as last week's, but I did enjoy it. And like Mr. G said, I think we're starting to see like the characters kind of wrap up, like character wise. Like we're starting to understand more and more and more about all these characters and all these chess pieces that are at play, and it's kind of helping us like enjoy the story little by little, even more and more as we go along. Even though after this we got what, 4 more left, so we'll see how that goes.
You just had to bring it up like that,
Yeah,
didn't
he did.
you?
You know what? Like since episode 1, it's taking me officially 6 weeks to just accept it and somewhat be at peace with it. I still wake up in a cold sweat once every few nights, but I've come to terms with that. It's gonna go away, and you know what? We'll just leave it up to whatever to hopefully someone does the right thing and picks this show up and puts it back on. I'm just taking it as what it is right now. I'm not letting the thought of it going away deter me away from like enjoying the show too much.
Yeah, you know what? I think I was almost to that point where you're at, where I was at peace with it. But as some of you may know, I'm out in LA now for a couple weeks, and today I had the privilege of meeting one of the actors from Stargirl that's coming next year. And
I saw that on your story.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gilbert Glenn Brown, cool guy, and he was just giving us so much insight into the show. And he's on DC Universe, and he's loved every show. Every show has topped the last. So Doom Patrol's better than Titans. Swamp Thing's better than Doom Patrol, I think, in my opinion. But he said Stargirl's even supposed to be better. And we got to talking about Swamp Thing, man, and Swamp Thing, it's supposed to exist on DC Universe for it to be the best show it can be. And I just need in some speck of hope, I need it to remain on DC Universe. Like it just has to be there in some way. So
That would be ideal.
yeah.
All right. So we started off this episode with some people hunting him down. And we saw that it takes way more than a zoo amount of ketamine to take down Swamp Thing, and a little more than steel to take one of his legs out. That scene was a little crazy, and I love the effect of him running, punching the trees, throwing splinters, showing that he could use the green around him for protection. I really liked how they did that.
Yeah, I actually appreciated how they did that because, of course, we know Swamp Thing probably could have just, I don't know, melded into the ground and popped up right in front of them, or
Right.
who knows. But it's kind of cool seeing him still figure out the green. And that was a very graphic scene, especially the wooden splinters that stuck in the one guy's face.
Mm-hmm.
That was gross. But yeah, I liked it. It wasn't too crazy. It wasn't too long of a scene, but you see that struggle that he has of maintaining his humanity. So, because he just started losing it, he just started going crazy on these people.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest key that played into that. Is the scene after where they're in the hospital and Abby walks in and Liz is explaining to them, like 90% of their description was your boy Alec, and I guess he did this. So like, and Abby was like, no, like if it's this gruesome, there's no way Alec had anything to do with this. So I like that she still thinks that this mutation, I guess, or this chemical imbalance, however you want to mention it in this specific show. I love how she's still naive to think that like he's still that guy that she met in the lab, and like he's not a being right now that is confused, kind of terrified, and now he feels under attack. So he's gonna be in defense mode now, knowing that people are gunning for him. Like, and Alec was a smart guy to begin with. Swamp Thing, one of the most sophisticated superheroes in comics. I mean, for God knows how long. I'm sure he can put two and two together that like, because he knew what the Sunderlands were capable of before he became Swamp Thing, and then now the danger level is getting more and more and more, and he sees like he's watching from the outside, I guess, and seeing how the chess pieces are moving, and he's putting two and two together. So him in defense mode is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think there was that moment, like, because at first I thought, well, my first reaction was he didn't react enough because he should have just used the vine and stabbed them through the chest. Then my second reaction was maybe he overreacted because they were running from him. But then I thought, he saw that they tried to lure him in by, using the bunny, and they hit him with and the guy said it like 3 times, it's all steel or whatever trap. What does that matter? It's a walking swamp monster, and you're worried about him breaking steel. But then they shot him with a dart, so he clearly sees now that not only maybe or somebody might want to kill him, but they're clearly trying to capture him or something. So I would think even if you didn't have confused swamp person going on, I could see where you want to make sure they either don't come back or they remember their time here in the swamp, because they clearly were trying to capture him and not just kill him or something. So,
what was the craziest part of this episode for you guys?
craziest part, I mean, it has to go to Dan, aka Blue Devil. I mean, I've been wanting to see more of him anyway, and this episode we got a lot more of him. We're starting to see, him becoming Blue Devil. I thought it was really cool how they, had him heating up and sweating out his pores and smoking and turning kind of blue. I'm still anxious to see the full transformation, but the craziest part, I would have to say was, and I'm still a little confused by it all, but when Woodrow and Sunderland, and I guess Woodrow, the other Dr. Woodrow, the wife, when he approaches them at, I guess, when Blue Devil approaches them at Woodrow's house, and Sunderland has the shotgun, and I heard a shot go off, so I'm guessing he shot in the air instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only seen the episode once so far, but that was an intense moment for me. I don't think this episode had too many crazy moments compared to previous episodes, minus that first moment in the beginning when the wooden splinters are coming out and stabbing people in the face and in the legs. But I mean, even little demonic Susie wasn't even in this episode. I mean, we didn't see her once.
Yeah, they decided to cool you off the EBGBs, man. The Ooga
I know.
Boogas.
I didn't get a single Ooga Booga this episode. Like, there were no Ooga Boogas in this episode. So,
is little Susie gonna come back? Because I heard her say that she made sure she was at a relative's house, like at one point, right? So, is she gonna be back? I wonder.
I mean, I guess that's up to Shauna, right?
So, the one thing I was gonna say was I actually kind of yelled at Doctor whatever, the one you said,
Woodrow,
back of the head with whatever that was, concoction to put him to sleep. Because I was like, he's about to be the Blue Devil, and I'm going to be showed to be wrong, that he is actually going to make an appearance. He's blue, and he's getting bluer, and then she pop, and he just goes to sleep, and I'm like, totally teased it.
I love that. I love that how they're giving us like just a little bit, and they're like, exactly what you did. That's what I did too. She stabbed him, and I was like, we were so close. We were so close. And I don't know, man. I see that whole thing is the only thing that confused me about this episode. So Woodrow built up this concoction, I guess, and gave it to him, and we didn't even see that scene, right? Like we didn't even see Woodrow experimenting on Dan, and then we find out later that he did, and that it brought him back to 100% mental state out of a coma, brought him back to 100% mental function. He comes out of the coma, but that serum, I guess, is pumping into his blood, as we see the glowing blue serum. But then after he gets stabbed, we get that whole Madame Xanadu scene. Mm-hmm. So that whole Madame Xanadu scene, what is she doing exactly? Did you guys get that? Is she taking the devil out of him? Is she erasing everything that the Phantom Stranger gave to him in the beginning?
See, I was hoping you guys could explain that to me, because I was not 100% on what that was.
Yeah,
what was happening.
I watched it twice, and I was like, okay, I'm following up until then. And she goes, "This will be our little secret, and now you can rest." And then just like puts her hand over his face and like does like this, Madame Xanadu stuff. And the only thing we know is that even after that, like the vitals are still going. But he said, "Now you can rest." She said, "Now you can rest. Easy. You don't have to worry about anything," and all that. So I don't know. I hope that stuff gets answered later on.
I just thought
I got to do a little more research.
Maybe she just took some pain away from him or something. Because I don't know. Because at first I was wondering if the stuff he injected with him, like maybe the Blue Devil was like coming out to stop it from happening to him, or maybe it triggered it. But then when I went back and watched it the second time, the stuff he injects into the bag is blue itself. Like it comes out blue. Yeah. And so now I'm really confused. I don't know if it made him blue or if it was like counteraction to what's already inside of him. Because when he put his hand out, he got those blue flames on him. So that's why.
Yeah, but he kept saying when Oblivion was saying that he went to the Woodrow's house, he kept saying, "What did you do to me? I'm burning up." What did you do to me? I'm burning up. Now, that's a very good way to think about it, Mr. G. I didn't even think about it that way. Is him getting hot a reaction to what Woodrow gave him? Or is, like, what I mean is it counteracting what Woodrow gave him? Or is the burning up a symptom of what Woodrow gave him? Like, that's a cool way to think about it.
I don't know.
So we don't really know if his body is trying to fight what Woodrow gave him or is adapting to what Woodrow gave him.
Yeah, I'm looking back at it or thinking back on it. What she did, Xanadu in the hospital, what she did is kind of similar to what Swamp Thing did when he performed that weird exorcism during like episode 1 or 2 or whatever, where he purged that one person of, I guess the rot. She kind of took whatever was in Danny into herself in a similar fashion. So I don't know what the connection is there, but
Although it was like really confusing, I actually kind of liked that a little bit because it just gave Xanadu like something to do. And now it seems like, oh, okay, this is a legit lady. This isn't just some weird lady playing with cards and taking people for their money. Like she actually has something more, and more depth to her than just that. Because I always say I've never read about her in the comics, so for me, I don't even know what her role is. And I was, oh, okay, so there is something a little more creepy and stuff going on there.
Yeah, I like how your interpretation of Madame Xanadu was Miss Cleo. Like, I love how that's who you thought she was. That's who she played. Like, are you guys familiar with the whole Miss Cleo thing? From back in the day, like she used to be on TV.
You call the 1-800 line to get.
Yeah. I love how you thought that's what she was. She was just like a tarot card reading, like gypsy that kind of just rips people off.
Give me answers. She's like, hold on, let me flip these cards over. I saw that on the night.
Yeah, like I've said, she's very, very downplayed and depowered so far in these shows. I mean, recently in the comics, she in the current Justice League Dark series, spoiler for anybody that hasn't read it yet, but she becomes one of the Lords of Order. And
Hey, I haven't read that one yet. I get my.
Well, he said spoilers.
I said spoiler. You had like 2 seconds. But Naboo himself said, you know what, we picked the best of the best to be, the Lords of Order. And when he talks about the best of the best, he overlooked people like Etrigan the Demon or Jason Blood and other powerful sorcerers and mystics. He went for like freaking Madame Xanadu to be, she was kind of like the right-hand woman of Naboo himself, as far as the Lords of Order go. So I don't know. I mean, it's TV, so she obviously, especially when you're playing into or creating a show based on the magical dark side of comics, you can't really, go too crazy, or you'll lose the audience, or at least the audience that isn't familiar with all the comic book storylines and powers and whatnot.
Yeah. Old Wolf. He says that and that is true, and it made me think about it. Since he said it, I was like, oh yeah. He was saying you might have to put on the mask to turn, and I was thinking they do every time that comes up. They do show that mask, like they cut to that mask every single time. Some kind of hint of the Blue Devil was coming around. They cut to that mask, and they cut to that mask, and even the hot chick. I don't want to say the hot
Liz.
Even she kind of looked at the mask like funny, like, what's that? You know what I mean? Like she kind of even stared at it for like an extra second or two. It's like, that might, you might have a point there. You might have to put the thing on and then.
Yeah, that's true.
Superpowers come.
Like the mask.
Yeah.
I was literally thinking the same thing. Do you guys feel like because we got the Phantom Stranger again in this episode. I know last week
Is that who that was again? Jesus,
yeah,
I'm not keeping up with that guy.
He even had the hat and the trench coat this time. Yeah,
I was just about to say. I was like, "What?"
I thought
about? He even gave
it came off like Crossroads Devil style. So I was like, maybe he's a little something else there. But no, okay, that's what I thought it was at first. But then it seemed like it got kind of creepy when he was leaving. So I was like, maybe that's not him. I don't know.
I love how they never they just get these average looking actors to play his role. Because the Phantom Stranger, you would think they would cast him as a super handsome looking guy. Because I feel like they draw him typically they draw him super handsome looking. But yeah, I mean, that was the Phantom Stranger because Danny even continuously refers to him as the Stranger, which is, one of his aliases in the comics. I know it's a very subtle thing you wouldn't catch, but he keeps saying the Stranger. I think Madame Xanadu even mentioned the Stranger. So they he's pulling some strings here. I mean, now he's got his hand in Swamp Thing's destiny. He's got his hand in Blue Devil's destiny, and it works because the Phantom Stranger is like an agent of the presence, which is DC Comics version of God Almighty, basically. So he's not all powerful, but he
can pull the strings.
oh yeah, totally pull the strings.
Yeah.
He's an amazing character. So I'm glad that he's getting some small screen time, which it's really interesting to see him on the screen. Did the actor kind of look like the Beard Hunter from Doom Patrol?
Yeah, like him mixed with like Ricky Gervais a little bit.
Dude, the Beard Hunter was so cringy. I will never forget that guy. There's only a few actors that make me cringe like that, and that list is composed of like Jack Black and Zach Galifianakis. But the Beard Hunter is in there. Like,
dude, the worst part of the Beard Hunter, the only time I ever went, that's too much, is in that scene where they have the orgasm, and he's like staring at the guy's beard, and it's like getting all close to his beard. And I was like, dude, that's like too much. Like, holy Jesus. Where Street is literally having an orgasm. I was like, dude, Beard Hunter guy, my God, man, like that's too much for me.
I mean, it would have been worse if he was like face to crotch with a guy's pubes or something. I mean, that
you know what? We're seeing Mr. Mob Boss Sunderland a lot.
Yeah.
And I like it. Like we saw Mob Boss Sunderland. Like, dude, this guy's telling doctors what to do at this point. Like, it's Sunderland's got some heat. You can't play with this man, and I can't wait to see how it all kind of crumbles, because a guy like that, like, they're obviously setting up to be the ultimate evil to like eventually bring him down, but to the point of, I think the one thing that was big that we didn't talk about yet is that scene with Matt Cable and his mom in the office. And I pulled a, like, I wish I was sitting with Oblivion when we were watching this, because I had like a reaction I feel like he would have had when she turned around to him. She was like, "Oh, you're working for Sunderland now?" And he turned to his mom and was like, "Better than sleeping with him." And I was like, "Damn!"
Oh, shit.
Oh man. And then she went to smack him, and he grabbed her hand, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "This is too much. This is too much."
My mom went to slap me, and I caught her hand, and that left hand came way faster than I thought it was. I got smacked anyway. She did not. She goes, "Get your damn hands off of me!" Like, shit, that was like, I'm about to slap her. She was so mad when I caught her hand that first time.
What you do? You don't grab the hand. You just duck and run. Like,
when I grabbed it, don't hit me. She's like, "Wham!" The left one came faster than I see it. I was like,
you do what's called the fright shield. What every kid does. That you do that. That's the fright shield.
Oh
yeah,
man.
So I thought it was gonna be a little bit more like I don't know, like Sabi always wanted my daddy, but he's not around. You're banging this guy anyway. But no, like you saying, Tank, it straight came off as mob boss. He was like, "Look, he needed a guy to do a job. He has a file on you, even though you're banging him. So what am I supposed to do?" So I put a body on him, and then he like listed all the stuff she did, bribes. You got bodies on you. You got all this stuff. He's like listing all this stuff, and I was like, "Damn, I didn't even realize she was that dirty." Like, I know it was like the rumor of the town, but wow.
Yeah, man, it got a little crazy there when he was like, "You want to talk about what did he say?" He was like, he goes, "Oh, you want us to open up your file with all them bodies you got lined up in there? Orders you're taking from him?" I was like, "Oh man, Matt." I was like, "This guy grew some balls."
For real. And actually, you called it last week. Like you said,
I told you, I was like, he's working for this guy.
yeah, she took Homeboy out. What was his name?
Dubois, whatever.
Dubois. Yeah,
Yeah.
she took him out like a pro. Like newspaper up, blood splatter, all that. She knew what she was doing, and it's cool to see that. Okay, like yes, you watch the show and you hate Sunderland. And even though last week we see, he hires some chumps to go after Liz, and we're like, really? This is the best you got to go after Liz? But now this week we see he has hunters under him that he can send out after Swamp Thing.
He's got some reach.
He does. And
I don't know how much reach you can have in the bayou, but he's got some reach.
Oh, he does. And it was cool to see just how deep it goes, his relationship with the chief goes, and how it's reached even her son. I was really, really, really hoping to that point in the swamp when Alec, aka Swamp Thing, was, remembering. He's like, I remember you. You helped Abby. I was really hoping.
Yeah.
That he was like, oh, I seen you. I seen you in that boat. I seen you with that gun. Oh, you trying to kill me, but I'm back. I'm here. What's good? What's good, Miley? What's good?
Yeah, like when he said that, when he was like, I remember you, I sat back, I was like, oh shit.
I was like,
oh shit, here we go.
To go down.
I was like, here we go. And then he was like, oh, I saw you on the bridge. And I was like, come on. But then that tells me there's gonna, like, Alec is still, like, they're more progressed in the case of who killed Alec, especially at this point. Like, we knew Matt did it now. But, like, he has no idea. Eventually, the green is going to show him, right? Like, it has to come to that. It has to come to the green showing him, this is how this happened to you. And then, oh, I can't wait. That's got to be an episode 9, episode 10 thing. I can't wait to this man just go up to Matt Cable and was like, all right, it's time for you to catch these hands. And, like, just start vining the shit out of him, as erotic as that sounds.
Yeah, but it's just going to be that she's just going to get in the middle of the little love triangle and say, oh, don't hurt him, blah, blah, blah. Because I would say the only thing about this episode that bothered me, and you guys probably knew at the moment you watched it, I was going to bitch.
Yeah, I know.
The freaking
I can tell you right now.
Unnecessary, cringy love crap that was going on at the end. Like, oh my God. I didn't even mind the flower. That was fine. But just the, like, I don't know, reminiscing. Sometimes you just know. I was like, oh my God, stop trying so hard.
But that's actually giving us a glimpse in showing us, like, how Abby would be connected somehow to the green. Like, it's because Abby Arcane in the comics had her own set of powers. Like, so I think this is showing us that, like, we don't have enough time to build her up and give her own powers. But this is, at least we can do it somehow to where we can have Alex portray that Abby is also capable and linking up with him somehow, and, like, build. Sorry about that. I think that was the best way, like, to do that for them, was just setting up, like, we don't have the time to give Abby her own set of powers right now and tell you that story, but at least we can tell you that she's special. She's special, and she can link up with him. Like, it was all right.
Right. She gonna link real good.
You gonna get these vines. You gonna get these vines today.
They want them to have some kind of corny love scene, and they don't want it to be all creepy like Japanese anime. So they're gonna have this thing where they, like the ghost or whatever, Patrick Swayze, they're gonna actually see each other as who they are or whatever. But I will say the part that I did like, the other complaint that I had was my girl didn't try to be corny, kind of cringy. I'm gonna take on the world because I'm a badass. She was like, look, Sunderland or whatever, he played his card. He's willing to put people in comas, so I'm gonna just hit, I'm gonna chill for a while and let it happen. I was like, well, thank you. That's actually a nice, normal way to respond when somebody literally doesn't have problem murdering people in the parking lot. Like,
yeah, but then Abby, but then you got Abby who's like, he did what? And she was like, yeah. And he was
badass
like,
Abby.
She was like, hold my beer, I'll be right back. And she went into that hospital hallway and was like, this is what I love about this character. the Sunderland character, and she was like, "Oh my God, Abby, I'm so glad you're safe." And she was like, "What?" She was like, "Don't put your hands on me." I love how this guy like burns people and beats the shit out of them and like fuck sheriffs and like puts hits out on people. But then as soon as like someone comes up to him, he's like, "You know me, I'm just your casual neighborhood lovely man." Like he acts like what's his name from Family Guy?
Adam West?
No,
Herbert the Pervert?
Herbert the Pervert. Yeah, like all of a
Wow.
sudden he's a murderer, and then someone passes by and he's like, "Hey, Chris, you want to come get some popsicles in the cellar?" Like it's super weird. But I love that he can do that. Like it makes the character, because he's like, "I raised you. I gave you a home, and you didn't have nothing. This is how you're gonna treat me?" And I love Abby's response, badass Abby, where she was like, back then you could say stuff to me and I would have believed you. But like those days are a little it's a little far gone now. So like some shit's gonna go down, man. These last 4 episodes are gonna be fire.
I think that I think we just get a glimpse when he sees that now. I think we get a glimpse of how he's been doing it, right? Like he can just money with people, sure. But he goes deeper than that. Like he does stuff like, like he said, she's like, "Oh, well, now he's in the hospital." And he goes, "What, the bills? I'm here for that." And she's kind of like, "Yeah, shut up with that nonsense all the time." And I think that's what he does when somebody comes around and they're like, "What do you want me to do? You want me to go beat this guy up?" And he was like, "No, I mean, you got to do what you have to do. How was your mom? You remember the lady that I bought, I paid for her new car? You know what I mean?" Like he does that kind of stuff where he's like, he pats you on the back and then kind of reminds you how when you were in a bad place 2 years ago, I bailed you out, or I buried that body for you like a year ago. I mean, he's kind of like,
he's
like
built off favors.
Yeah.
He's built off favors. Like I have this, and I told you I like have this stuff that I watch, and then everything else is pretty much like Italian mafia, like stuff like that. I love mafia films. I love mafia shows. I love like stuff like that. Like don't give me all the credit, Oblivion, that like I called like the whole thing. Like don't give me all that credit. I've been trained specifically. Okay,
it's in your blood.
Look, you gotta think, with a guy this powerful, you can't not have the cops in your fucking pocket, my man. You gotta have these cops in your pocket. So like that was an easy call. But now, like what Mr. G said was the most interesting. This guy has his bankroll taken away from him. It was his wife who, like, at this point, let's face it, Maria Sunderland, this drama queen soap opera Maria Sunderland, knows he's banging someone. Like she knows, and he cut him off. So, like, how is he still pulling these things off? How is he still calling these hunters? How is this hunter still doing work? How are these people going to hit up Liz and Dan in the parking lot? My man's working off favors. He was like, remember when your mama needed that kidney and I put her on the list? You remember that? And they're like, "Yes, sir. All right, I need you to go kill this motherfucker." And they're like, "Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Sunderland, sir."
And I also think a large part is because people don't know he doesn't have that money because he's kept it hush hush. He's cut off his loose ends. So, he killed homeboy with the golf club, his banker, who would have totally ratted out. Oh, we lost Tank again. But
Sorry
he'll
about
pop
that.
back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, he killed homeboy with the golf club, his banker. And then, Liz was ready to pretty much out him for, his broke ass. And he's pretty much threatened her, and now she's even ready. And like you said, Mr. G, it's smart of her. She's ready to, pull back and just say, "Look, it ain't worth my family's life. It ain't worth my homie's life over here. So I'm just gonna step back." Really, the only people that know anything about his money are Miss Sunderland and Liz, and of course Abby is just Abby. I don't think she knows exactly about his lack of money, but I think she's going to be the one that they're setting it up to where she's the one that defeats him. I think that brings him to his reign of, I guess, tyranny to an end. But also, Old Wolf in the comments says, "I would laugh if Sunderland is the real father for Matt. See, I thought that for a second was like, hold up. Matt got a little, he got a little cocoa in him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So-
That's a little mochaccino. We got a little
Unless
mochaccino.
they're just gonna ignore that and be like really modern progressive and just got the best actor available, like they're gonna have to explain that one. I don't know about that.
Look, that one's even a little too progressive for me, and I'm a gay black man, so that's just
Wait, now you think Delroy got some action? He's the only brother we've seen in the show.
he is the only brother we've seen in the show, but he's also shown himself to be very upstanding. Like he ain't messing around no chicken head Madam Sutherland. Like he ain't going for her dry. Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna say that.
I'm just saying Liz and Matt have about the same complexion. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm just saying don't throw it out like completely.
No, it is thrown out. I'm throwing it right out with the bathwater. I'm throwing the whole thing. He clearly has some kind of ethnicity. I don't care where you're going to claim it's coming from. It ain't from the swamps of Louisiana. Not from the people we know.
Oh man.
Mr. Sutherland or whatever is a very white Caucasian man from the mountains of Texas.
I mean, remember the Titans, you know what I mean?
Oh,
but
yeah.
What's
up, JB?
I was just thinking about something. The whole Woodrow thing with Dan and the whole thing. Didn't he say that he used Abby's sample that she pulled out of the swamp?
Yeah, he took that little. She had that little plant that she found or whatever that she was working on, and that's what he used.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask two questions: one comedically, one seriously. Now, comedically, does that mean the Blue Devil has a little swamp thing in him? And number two, seriously, does that mean he can manipulate that mutation to do whatever it wants it to do?
I think it's going to be like a X-Men chromosome thing where or what was that? What story was that? Where like once you trigger it, it puts what's already in you. You know what I'm saying? Because he kept saying it's a mutagen. And so whatever is already in you, it triggers it and it makes it come forward and like really. So maybe he should have been a Blue Devil over time, but because he put that mutagen in him, he became a Blue Devil immediately.
Dude, you
just blew my goddamn mind.
Yeah. So, okay, DC is all about the meta gene. That's what they're all about. What if this is like the discovery of the meta gene on
the story within the story within the story?
Yes. Oh. That is so cool. Also,
I gotta change my pants. This is all too much.
Which bodily fluid do you have to change your pants for? You know, you can tell us that off camera.
All four.
All four. Oh shit. Oh. But I did get a little confirmation today. I don't think I can get in trouble for saying this, but in that interview that I had today, all of this is, which we already knew, Doom Patrol and Titans are happening in the same universe. But like all of this is happening in the same universe, like Stargirl, Swamp Thing, all that. So like, it's
are they gonna have a chance to even explore the multiverse though?
Dude, I don't even freaking know. I'm so pissed. This is why I'm telling you. This is why this show has to be. It has to stay on DC Universe. Like it just has to. I don't want it to go to CW. I don't want it to go to HBO. Like it needs to stay in the realm of all these other shows. But you know, I mean, hey, yo, we could storm on over to WB right now and knock some heads. Telling me like I'm ready.
That's true.
We'll go good cop, black cop on them.
Let me go lift my mattress and get what I need really quick.
All right, I feel you. I'll bring the pastrami.
Can we put this on the internet?
Probably not.
All I'm doing.
Nothing happens to WB in the next couple of days. Hopefully.
Look. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring some pastrami and the cannolis, and I'm gonna sit them down for dinner, and I'm gonna keep feeding them, and then I'm gonna throw them in the bathroom. I'm gonna burn all the toilet paper. I'm just gonna leave them in there.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
And then you leave the gun and you take the cannolis.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think we're gonna get a lot of more crazy stuff coming up in the next 4 episodes. It's fixing to be a good ending, man. I'm really, really proud of this show. I'm saying it like I'm a father and I have any skin in the game, but like I'm really, really proud of like DC's killing it on these shows, man. And like this show, I heard from someone who just recently got into comics, like about a year or two ago. So they're still new. And they were like, yeah, I got the DC Universe app. and they started watching it. He was like, it's incredible because he goes, the shows just got better. He was like, so he was like, don't get me wrong, I saw the DC movies. He was like I saw Justice League and all that. He was like, let's not even put these in that realm. If they made movies in the same way they made these shows, he was like, they'd have a Marvel universe on their hands. They'd have blockbuster hits left and right.
Absolutely.
Like, he was like, Titans is great. Then Doom Patrol came out, and it was so bizarre, and it was like so in your face, and like now this one is such like a dark drama horror aspect to it. He was like, it's something we've never seen before, and this is someone who's only been into this stuff for a couple years now, and he was like, Swamp Thing's got to be the best one I've seen thus far, like Marvel or DC television style show. He was like,
Wow.
Swamp Thing kills it. And I was like, all right, man, that's a fair opinion. I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah, I don't know what the people at DC do as far as, because I know the Flash and the Green Arrow. Sorry, the Green Arrow. The first season was good, but I know they got really corny. But I feel like they were kind of set up to be that way. But then you have this thing, and their cartoons are obviously amazing. The cartoons blow away Marvel every time. But so they have that stuff when it's like in house. Then I feel like when they want to make a movie, they like lose their mind. They go hire somebody, and then it doesn't follow any storylines that we know, or it just gets weird.
Yeah, it's super strange. It's like somebody in the boardroom is like opening the door and is like, "Hey, we've been doing great so far. Let's fuck shit up and make a movie." And like they bring somebody in, and it just completely destroys everything that they built up. So like I don't know, they really got to be careful at this point, because now they're getting way more eyes on their stuff. Before, when they released Justice League, they were like the ugly stepchild of the comic book movie and show business world. And now, because of Titans, because of this, because of Doom Patrol, like they're getting eyeballs on the screen. So they got to be careful with the next step. They like with Wonder Woman, with Aquaman, even like hit after hit after hit. Now they're really getting some traction. So the next decision's got to be a good one. They really got to be careful with what they do now.
Yeah, I think DC is starting to flex their muscles in a way that they weren't accomplishing before. I mean, even in this singular episode, you got a lot more close-ups of Swamp Thing's face and his costume and everything. And I was just, it's episode 6, and I was still mesmerized by the look of Swamp Thing himself. I was just like, wow, look at all the detail, look at the eyes, look at the face and the body and everything. And even in I think there are scenes I think the feel of this show is very similar to like the 7 Deadly Sin scenes in Shazam. Those were very dark. Even though the whole tone of the movie wasn't a dark movie, it had its dark scenes and it fit very well. And I think if they can carry this kind of production into their cinematography, which they easily should, they should be working on a bigger budget and all that good stuff. I really see, I have a lot of hope for DC's movies moving forward. I just, I'm only concerned about the execs at Warner Media and AT&T. I think that we need to, whenever they make shows, they need to continue to bring in the people that wrote the original source material. Like Jeff Johns has a very hands-on role with Stargirl. Like, and apparently his work in it like he is constantly in it throughout the creation of it. So I have high hopes for that, because one, Jeff Johns is my favorite writer, and on top of that, like, it's freaking Jeff Johns, and he's not going to let somebody ruin something that he's created.
Right.
We need less of the people with the money in their pockets and more of the people that actually, know about these stories, these characters, and what the fans want. And I could harp on that all day long, but Gomez Comic Collector says, shout out to AT&T and their rollover minutes. Patnas? Oh, their rollover minutes.
God damn it. Like, Gomez just has to bring the hood out once in a while.
Okay, so I had like 3 things I was going to ask. One is, Daddy, the guy who created, Deadpool and all the
Rob
goodness.
Liefeld.
Oh, Mr.
Why?
Life, yeah, Daddy
This is
Life.
a Swamp
Hold
Thing
on.
show. Why are we even
Why
talking
are we
about?
calling him Daddy?
Because Daddy Liefeld said, because it really bothers Tank. Said that DC was going under. You remember that? He got like a drunk tweet fest, and then it was told to stop. So
Yeah.
you have Tank, you have DC, who is like, they're shutting down some of the books. They shut down like Mad magazine. They're doing a lot of stuff, and it could just be streamlining. And I'm just worried because Disney knows how to print money. The WB and all them, I don't. They seem to know how to get out of their own way. I don't know, and so I'm like, I really would like them, like you guys are saying, to focus and doing this, so you have that alternate, $1 billion money streamline, so they won't start, shutting down comic books or whatever just because of that. And they seem to keep screwing that up. So that was like the one comment because that reminded me when you guys are saying they need to get their act together in movies. But the two thing is, I was wondering, did we get a glimpse into two characters, maybe seeing Sutherfield, how do you say his name? See him for the first time the way everyone else sees him, and maybe they were lying to themselves, because you saw that scene when they came back in the sheriff, she was clearly crying. And I wondered, is it because she disappointed her son, or is it because she realized the guy that she might have had a little bit of feelings for and was banging all these years was just using her to get, a file? And then same thing with Abby, because when Abby goes storming off, like, I'm going to go talk to him, that reminded me of like a daughter who's going to go talk to a dad, and not a dangerous man who'll kill your ass in a hospital room and then just pay off the staff to dump you somewhere.
I hope that my hope is that she has those feelings because it's her son. Not no little Dick Sunderland, pardon my French.
Well,
But
he could be
uh,
swinging.
Oh, you
he
think he's
seems like he's
packing?
overcompensating.
I
He's,
agree.
he's overcompensating.
I'll give you that.
He's trying to flex his money, which he ain't got. He's trying to latch on to anything that helps him feel like he has control. That's why he went back to his side chick who really don't want him, and
Preach.
they don't want him. Like he's got he's got little dick syndrome. He's got little dick syndrome. So, but yeah, trying to get back to whatever the hell we were talking about before. I think that she's shown how the lengths she would go to for her son. I don't think that she killed Dubois last episode because she was covering herself up. Like as soon as Dubois brought up Matt, she went into like maternal defense mode. And I think that's what we're going to get from her regardless. Even with the spat that the two of them have had this episode, I don't think that they're going to be at odds for long. I think that it was probably just in this episode they wanted to show us the dynamic of their relationship, how deep Sunderland was in to both of their pockets. And I think they did a good job of that.
I think it was because she realized at that point that her criminal past with this guy led to her son having a criminal past with this guy. So like the life she's led, like he said, you've been working for him, for years. Is this going to be Mac's future too? Because I couldn't imagine someone like the sheriff, forgive me, I always forget her name, but so I'm just gonna call her the sheriff. But
I call her the sheriff too.
Yeah, so it seems like obviously how crime works in this way, like organized, is like they'll get you once, and if you do one thing for them one time, they know they can keep asking, and they know like the money's gonna be good and the protection is gonna be even better, and you're just gonna you're just gonna keep doing what they ask. So all it takes is one, and if that one thing is murder, he's got you. So like I think that whole thing is like she's like, well, look at me, I've done this and this and that. Huh?
Pet that dog.
I am. He's just super needy.
He's like begging you for attention.
Yeah. But he wants his ass scratched. But he's so like she's like, look at me, like I've got a catalog of things that I've done for this man, and it probably all started with just one ask. Now he's done this to her own son, and she knows, like, look at the life I've led, and that's the path my son is heading down towards. Like that's what I think is happening at this point. That's why she's disappointed.
I hope so, because I like her character. And I just hope it's not something where she was like, "Oh, but I thought he loved me." That's not good.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think she's too strong of a woman to, lean on that. Like they would have been together in that case.
Mm-hmm.
But actually no, because she doesn't have the money like Maria does.
Yeah, he
True,
can't have
but
that.
she definitely shown her strength as a woman in the first time when they started, feeling the heat in the Sunderland house, and she's like, "Oh, she upstairs? Hell no, I'm out." And then
Yeah,
second time when he was like, "Hey, baby, I only got 2 pumps in, and we're done. Can we go again?" And she's like, "That's all you get. That's all you get."
yeah. That
And
was tough.
yeah, so like she holds her own. I mean, yes, he does. We've come to find out he has a lot more over her and can probably make her do so much more than we previously understood. But yeah, she's a strong woman. So I
Uh-oh.
think it's
I think Tank froze.
Tank's froze.
I
But
think so. Well, anyway, I was just gonna say, like, to finish it up anyway, because we're almost to it. Is at the end, whenever he comes back in and closes the doors, as we got to talk. I was like, that can get interesting because if he tells her the truth, it's like, this guy that I killed, and then you killed a guy to protect that kill is still walking around. He's some kind of swamp monster, and it's Abby's swamp monster or whatever. That's it. That could be interesting little side story too.
man, I hope he doesn't snitch. Like for real, after all this, you supposed to be in love with Abby and everything. And you gonna go and snitch and say, "Yo, Alec is still alive." Well, who's gonna believe that though? Who's gonna believe him? Unless he can like go out and show them like there is a freaking swamp monster in the swamp. Well, I guess it won't be that hard because they can find him pretty easily. Apparently, like people just
Yeah.
walk out in the swamp and find
Oh,
him.
and
So
there was that moment where he was like, it seemed like he could feel like he could feel their emotions almost. You know what I mean? When he was like, "Oh no, they're coming looking for me." Like, did you pick that up?
yeah, yeah. No, I totally got that, and I guess that's still him tapping into the green to
Yeah.
really, I guess, sense certain things, which I think is pretty cool. I think on one hand, I think the pace at which they're introducing us to Alec discovering his powers with the green is a good. I think it's a good pace, but when you think of the grand scheme of is it really done after 10 episodes? As of right now, yes. Then it's like, well, dang, we're probably not going to see him be able to do like 20% of the cool things that.
Yeah, because you mentioned that before, and I was thinking about that. How they're kind of like, it is an origin story almost. So they're showing you that he doesn't really know what he can do yet. He's still figuring out what the green is, and it's also good because if he really could, be as powerful as the Swamp Thing can be, then what's these regular humans walking around? That doesn't make sense. You just go wipe out everyone if you wanted to. So it is good that they're kind of showing you. And that this show went on 5 seasons, and he's fighting some alien from outer space that he can go full on swamp if he wanted to. So,
Yeah.
well, that's cool. What's his Tank left us? I guess.
I guess
What do
we
you got
can.
going on for this week? You got anything you want to put out there?
Well, still here in LA. So Tank says call him.
I did. I already called him though.
I guess we'll try to wrap up, but yeah, still here in LA. I'm gonna meet up with Tank hopefully this week because he lives in Anaheim. I'll be in Anaheim for VidCon, and we're still gonna drop an episode this Thursday. We are finishing our discussion on Heroes in Crisis, so we're covering issues 7 through 9. And we still have our giveaway going on. So if you haven't been to our channel, go watch our giveaway video. We have some cool prizes from a graphic novel, a couple of single issues, and toys and figures and art and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we got going on. Me and Tank gonna go on a little bro date, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse my technical difficulties, by the way, guys. Everything just kind of shut down for some odd reason.
Are you gonna go give him a tour of Disneyland, Tank? I heard that it's pretty slow there. You can go anywhere you want.
You gonna send me the money to take him to Disneyland, Mr. G?
That's what I heard. That is
Well,
exactly what I heard.
I just thought,
I heard they're
friends,
supplying.
friends
I heard they're supplying the trip.
I don't know. I'm just saying,
We're gonna
Man,
do
Mr.
a
G, I
YouTube
knew I
video.
liked you.
We're gonna do a YouTube video, Oblivion and Tank at Disneyland, sponsored by Mr. G.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just sent you some money. I know that doesn't really count, but there's your sponsorship.
Actually, we are planning. We're still trying to schedule everything, but if all works out, you or me, Tank, and John from John's Comics with Kids, hopefully we'll all be able to get together and hang out and maybe pump out a little content for you guys. So
Yeah, I think that's what the deal's gonna be, and I think I'm all set up for that. So I'm up for it.
yeah.
I was away for a minute. Did we do episode ratings yet?
Nope.
Nope, we waited just for you.
Okay,
All we
let's
talked about
close
was
it out.
when he
We're
comes to
approaching an hour right now. We were a little late though, so we could buy a few minutes. But let's do episode ratings and then final remarks, and then we're out of here.
I guess I'll go. I want to give this episode. I'm gonna give it a confident 7.5. It was last week. I gave last week's episode what, an 8.5. I gave it something.
Yeah, we were all pretty high up there, 8.5, and I gave it a 9. I think.
Yeah, which that means I really liked it because nothing in my book is perfect. As far as why I give this one a 7.5, I love that it continually progressed the story. I appreciate that it didn't try to ride on the shock factor of the scares and the ooga boogas and everything. I'm glad it gave me a little break. It gave my heart some time to settle. I could just watch and enjoy. Yeah, and the character development was great. I'm not giving it anything negative. It's just it wasn't a better episode than last week. It was a necessary episode. So I give it a solid 7.5.
Yeah, I think if you watched it, like if this is the only episode you'd watch, it probably would deserve like a 5 or a 6, just because like nothing really happened. But in the wholeness of the Swamp Thing so far, I think a 7.5, because it did a really good job of all things we had already talked about. So I think I'm right there with you, 7.5.
Yeah, I think that's what I was going to say, Mr. G. You said exactly what I was going to say. I think this one's the toughest episode to rate thus far because we've been seeing big progression, and like big shock value every episode until now. I think this was the first, like, okay, we just got the big episode, and now this is our little setup info episode. So, I mean, like you said, if you're new to the show and you start off watching episode 6, I'd give it a 5 or a 6. But as a part of the story, yeah, it plays in very well. But I mean, we're not rating the series just yet. We'll leave that for episode 10. But so if I'm rating this episode, I'm gonna be the downer this week. I think I'm gonna give it a 6, just because if someone just sits down and watches episode 6 and they expect a rating for that, I got to tell them, you know what? It's not the best one. If you really want to watch the first episode you should watch thus far, beside episode 1, is episode 5, and because that's the highest rated one in my opinion, this one would be around a 6 for me. Yeah, it gave us necessary information, but it wasn't anything special, but it was informative. So that's the one thing. All right, well, that's all our ratings, guys. And any final remarks? What do you guys got going on, Mr. G?
Nothing really. This is it for this week. I don't have anything planned. Barbarian will hit me up if he wants to do a show, but I don't think I even have anything coming in right now. I think it's going to be coming in later. So, nothing right now. Just hanging out.
Yeah.
All right, Oblivion.
I kind of mentioned a few things while you were disconnected there, but one other thing is tomorrow I get to meet with a mutual friend of ours, Tank, David Boer, writer of Kanto. Right. So really excited to finally meet up with him. We'll probably do a little interview and whatnot and talk about the book and all that good stuff. So that probably won't air for a couple months though, or a month or so. So.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we got this going on, and we'll be back on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesday, I'm doing a live show now with Perry Comics on his channel, and we're doing a new comic book day review show. So make sure you catch that. That's at about 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard, so 6:30 Eastern. Other than that, man, that's pretty much what I got going on right now. Also, I did start an online blog, and I'm rating new comic books every week, and I'm also doing like media rating. It's slowly but surely getting off the ground. So the link is in my bio on Instagram. That'll be linked below. So go check that out. I just wrote a review on the new Spider-Man movie, Far From Home, which was incredible. Go see it. I recommend it. And I've also done a review for last Wednesday's books. The best book in my opinion and the worst book. So go check that out and show some support. That's pretty much it. Thanks for joining in the chat, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for contributing. Thanks for giving your opinion and everything else. Mr. G, once again, thanks for hosting, man.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. It was fun.
All right.
I love this.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.